Jerry Sargeant talks about energetic parasites and how much we carry within our energetic bodies. All of this is true. But the issue is, he also talks about DNA upgrades and letting extraterrestrial incarnates within our space without verification or proper gnosis. And because he does that, that's where things can get a little bit more complicated. My biology instructor explains it here better than I can.
HIV is a virus that specifically infects certain cells that are cells of your immune system. In particular, it infects a kind of T cell in your immune system, and during replication in those T cells, it ends up killing them. It destroys those cells. And when you have sufficient destruction of the T cells in your body, you, in the absence of treatment, will develop loss of immune system function that we know as AIDS. So I'm showing you this slide not to scare you, but I know that many of you are not biology majors, and so
Jerry Sargeant has protected his own image down to a science. To see this for yourself, go to the search box and type in Jerry Sargeant is dangerous. Instead of videos with individuals sharing their experiences with him and with his organization, they will get Jerry's own videos in which he talks about himself as being dangerous in terms of being some type of institutional disruptor. But in reality, this couldn't be further from the truth, especially because Jerry and his organization operates like a cult, with him being the center of it.
To attend a Star Magic workshop, you have to sign a strict non-disclosure agreement. Why the secrecy? Why the control over information? If this was truly about healing, wouldn't Jerry Sargeant, Star Magic's founder, want people spreading the word instead of keeping quiet? The truth is simple. Star Magic is a cult, and Jerry is its leader. Jerry Sargeant presents himself as a spiritual healer, blending sacred geometry, Egyptian symbols, and downloads from higher beings. He claims to channel entities of pure consciousness and promises transformation, emotional, spiritual, and even physical. Participants can pay thousands of dollars to attend. Those who feel uneasy or disturbed often leave abruptly. Instead of addressing concerns, Sargeant dismisses them, saying they aren't ready. He reframes doubt as failure, a classic cult tactic. One of the most effective manipulation techniques in a cult is love bombing. After group and personal sessions, Sargeant floods people with praise, validation, and excessive affection. He tells them they're special. He makes them feel seen. He embraces and becomes quite handsy with women especially, and tells them that he loves them. And in that heightened emotional state, the brain releases dopamine, the same chemicals that make people fall in love or trust someone deeply. But this isn't about compassion. It's about control. Once someone feels a strong emotional connection to Sargeant, it becomes difficult to question his authority. And that's when the real manipulation starts. But what's actually happening behind the veil? Sargeant explains that he channels entities whom he calls star friends or his star family. He presents them as benevolent guides. But if you look at it through the lens of occult traditions, the reality is much darker. What Sargeant is actually carrying out is something called partial possession. There's a huge difference between partial possession and full possession. Full possession is when an entity takes complete control, overriding the person's will. This is rare. Partial possession happens when an external force subtly influences someone's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The person still feels in control, but their decision-making is no longer entirely their own. Signs of partial possession include sudden personality shifts that feel unnatural, a growing dependence on an entity or leader for insight, and mental fog or disassociation, as if someone else is thinking alongside them. This is not enlightenment. It's manipulation on a spiritual level. I understand that people have been seen walking out of wheelchairs, experiencing rapid healing, and feeling genuine effects from these sessions. But let's be honest. If entities operated through fear and outright terror, no one would invite them in. That's not how this works. True manipulation isn't about brute force. It's about trust. It's about giving just enough to make people believe, to make them open themselves willingly. These otherworldly intelligences don't need to scare you into submission when they can entice you into compliance. Healing, visions, and spiritual experiences are not proof of benevolence. They're bait. And once someone believes the bait is real, they let their guard down, making it easier for these entities to form a deeper attachment. A good trap doesn't look like a trap. It looks like a gift. Sargeant openly says that the beings he channels come from the void, and the void is not some neutral space of endless potential. The void, across countless occult and esoteric traditions, is described as a realm of chaos, entropy, and consuming forces. It is a place where beings do not give freely. They take. When something from the void offers a gift, it's never without a price. The healing, the energy, the supposed miracles, these are just bait to make people trust, to make them open themselves further. Because once you let something in, once you invite it into your life, you are the one who has to find a way to get it out. But if you can't recognize that something is actually going on, then it makes it that much harder. These beings don't care about healing you. They care about getting inside, about forming a connection they can use later. In occultism, this is the most dangerous type of spirit, the ones who pretend to help. Because the more you trust them, the deeper their hold becomes. Throughout history and into the future, cults just won't use emotional manipulation, nor will they just engineer dependency. The most dangerous cults are coincided with dangerous spiritual forces that help gain hold over followers. Star magic isn't about making people feel good in the moment. It's about making them open themselves up to something they don't understand. Sargeant is doing more than gathering followers. He's introducing them to something ancient, something predatory. Some might think Jerry Sargeant is just another New Age grifter, selling overpriced nonsense. But his ambitions go further. He's working to expand star magic worldwide, setting up healing centers funded by his most devoted followers. This isn't just a scam. It's something much darker. So let's be clear. Star magic healing isn't just another spiritual movement. It's a system of control, psychological manipulation, and dangerous occult practices disguised as healing. And from the perspective of a shaman, it may end up being more dangerous than anyone may ever expect. Now, when I say occult, let's take a moment to clarify what this actually means. The occult isn't about the sensationalized Hollywood imagery of dark rituals or shadowy secret societies pulling strings behind the curtains. It's not about the Illuminati, nor is it rooted in the wild conspiracies you often see in popular media or the evangelical imagination. True occultism is far more profound. It's the study of ancient texts, historical teachings, and a deep desire to understand the unseen forces that have been explored across cultures and throughout history. Practitioners of the occult arts have long sought to uncover the nature of reality, delving into esoteric concepts like the nature of consciousness, the spirit, and the interconnectedness of all things. At its core, the occult is about understanding these unseen forces, and at its worst, attempting to manipulate them in one's favor. And when someone like Jerry Sargeant claims to work with entities from the void, and then deploys high-level secrecy and physical tactics like prolonged contact, it's not naivety at play. Unlike misguided cult leaders who may believe in their powers without a full understanding of their implications, Sargeant is more akin to the warlocks of history. Individuals who are fully aware of the dark forces they are wielding. This awareness places him in a far more concerning category than someone merely unaware of the energies they're channeling. To anyone experienced in esoteric practices, star magic's approach stands out as high risk. Channeling beings from the void can lead to lasting energetic cording, where a practitioner uses their own aura or life force to bind others to him. In traditional esoteric circles, practitioners go through rigorous, years-long training to understand how to manage such connections safely. And even then, the void is something typically approached with extreme caution, if at all. It's not just courting that can happen. When working with dark entities from the void, practitioners expose themselves and others to the risk of partial and, over time, complete possession. Void beings are known for being invasive. If invited into one's energetic space, they can gradually take over, influencing thoughts, behaviors, and even physical health. Partial possession often manifests subtly at first, like a shift in personality or increased fatigue, only to evolve into a deeper form of control if not managed. The slow erosion of personal will and energetic autonomy is the game of these unseen forces, and full possession can result in a near total loss of personal freedom. People play with what they don't understand, dressing it up in symbols and ceremonies, thinking they're tapping into something cosmic, something divine. But Jerry's so-called magic isn't some enlightened secret. It's a doorway. The forces he's moving alongside with aren't benevolent, and they aren't bound by human perception of light or love. They are vast, predatory, and far beyond what the imagination can contain. What he's doing isn't just reckless. It's dangerous on a scale most can't even fathom. Because once you call something through, once you invite it in, you don't get to decide what stays.
If you choose to engage with Jerry and star magic, do so at your own risk.